Well, good evening, everyone. Hope everyone is having a good day, a good weekend. This button is getting on my nerves. And ready for your IOEs. This is going to be real quick. I have to vent. This is my outlet since these videos are about my personal experiences for me. This is my way to get things off of my chest and so they won't stay on my mind because I'm the type of person that will let stuff like bother me that it should if I don't say it, if I don't express it, it just balls up or whatever, and I don't want that on me. And but before I do that, to get my vent out, my rant, but before I forget, when you start flying, you may want to take some Sudafed. I did go to the doctor when I first started flying because my ears were like on fire. I mean, to even touch it like this here, it was hurting because I had to get used to it. And so he told me to take Sudafed so it would help with the clogging. I mean, I couldn't hear Jack. Passengers talking to me, I'm like straining, trying to hear my coworkers talking to me, and then I'm talking, but I really can't hear myself talk, so I didn't realize if I was screaming, yelling, or talking too low, and they were like, what? So I went through that phase. So take some Sudafed before your trip, like an hour before your flight, and that'll help with the blockage in your ear, because I had got fluid in my right ear when I first started flying because of that. And now it doesn't bother me. I don't have to take Sudafed anymore. I've gotten used to it, but I had to do that in the beginning. And the other thing is vertigo. I remember when I first started, and my doctor told me I had a mild case of vertigo, anyway. But when I first started flying, I remember being in the shower on my my layover, and I felt like I was doing this, and I had to hold on to the shower like, what's going on? Where is it, an earthquake? Is the shower moving? Like, what is really going on? So then I went and got in the bed, and I felt like the room was moving, and like stuff was just moving in motion. And I called my girlfriend who flies for another a mainline airline, and she said, "Girl, your vertigo was just probably triggered. She said that happens when you fly." I was just felt like the room was like really, really, really moving. So that's something else that could happen too. If you already have vertigo, then it can probably intensify it a little bit. If you don't have it and then that happens, that's probably just what it is. But it's nothing that prevents you from doing your job or anything like that. You just feel kind of funny, like stuff is moving or whatever. It was kind of funny when it happened to me. And then the other day I was flying, and we had some turbulence, and we had a lot of wind, and it just felt like we were doing this. And I was like, oh Lord, I'm asleep tonight, and I'm gonna feel like I'm in the ocean somewhere. But that's something else you can look out for too, that could possibly happen, that you need to get ready for if it happens. It happens to everybody, so it's nothing to worry about. Now on to my rant. Some could say, or would say, that I am kind of anal when it comes to certain things. And one of my biggest pet peeves that I absolutely cannot stand is tattletelling. And I'm not going to even say tattletelling, but grown folks who worried about what everybody else is doing and not worry about what they need to do. I hate that with a passion. And I also hate to get called into the office, whether it was principal's office or work office, job office, or something. I hate it because it makes me nervous. Like, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And you never want to get called into the office. And then they tell you, when you're at work, you probably hardly ever see your supervisors or managers unless you do something wrong. So I'm one of them people like, what happened? What I do? I don't like to mess up, and I don't like to be called into the office. And I take all my jobs, not just this one, but every job that I've ever had, I take seriously. and I take my work seriously, and I strive to do the best that I can in everything that I do, because I don't like being called in to the office at all, unless it's something positive. I don't want to be called for nothing bad, and that just ruins your day. And I remember one particular time I had a job that I actually liked, and I had over 20 something years experience. I knew what I was doing. But it was one particular woman, for whatever reason, from the day one, from when I got hired, the day I started, I just knew that she had an issue with me, just didn't know what it was. And she sat behind me, and she was my peer. We were equal. We did the same thing. But she had a cousin who happened to be the COO of the company. And this woman made my job so miserable to eventually had to leave. And I don't have high blood pressure or anything like that, but I was admitted into the hospital at least 3 times that 1 year that I was there because of her. Because she was a type of woman that I'm talking about that worried so much about what everybody else was doing that it didn't matter what I did, didn't do, wore, didn't wear, whatever. My name stayed in her mouth, and she always went and had something to say about something that I was doing, no matter how petty or small it was. And I couldn't figure it out. Then my supervisor who hired me got promoted, and then they promoted her to my supervisor. So I immediately started trying to switch departments because I knew it was going to be a hot mess. And from that point that she became my supervisor, I kid you not, if it wasn't every day, it was every other day. She was pulling me into her office. I couldn't even clock in and still have my purse on my shoulder. Couldn't even sit down at my desk good before I was being called in to her office for something or the other. And I knew right then and there I was going to have to leave because I was either going to get fired for cussing her out or worse. So I had to leave because my health was starting to be affected by her and whatever her vendetta was against me. And I told myself then that was the last time I would ever work and be stressed out, not from the job, but from the people at the job, or not even your supervisors or managers, but just from coworkers or peers or what have you, that I refuse to work for anyone that's going to put me in the hospital or stress me out or to make my job miserable. When you get to the point to where you don't want to wake up in the morning to go to work because you have to worry about this person looking over your shoulder and reporting you about something and you don't even know what it is, or if it's something real minor and petty. I'm like, what kind of time do you have on your hand that you can go and make phone calls and look up names and file reports to report somebody for something so petty that doesn't have nothing to do with the job performance or have anything to do with you putting people in danger or anything to do with the company business itself? I just don't get it. And I don't like getting phone calls for petty stuff, for little stuff. I just don't. It just ruined my whole day and my mindset to where it's like I'm all happy. I'm all getting dressed, whatever, and I'm ready to get to work. And then you receive a phone call and you're like, what? Are you kidding me? Are you serious right now? It just irritates my soul. It really, really, really does. But the one thing that I can say that it does, what it did for me, what it even made me more so, want to be in a better position that I am now. So that just fueled me for later on to not only, want to grow with the company, but to put myself in another position at some point later on. Because just like the lady who I worked with before, she was smart. She knew business wise. She had all the degrees you can think of, but she wasn't a people person. She wasn't managed material. So just because you know all the rules and the regulations and the policies, that doesn't mean everybody deserves to be in that position, because you may not know how to work well with others or speak to people or talk to people or lead people. Everybody's not a leader. So that just made me more so want to position myself to be that person. And that's my rant for the day. I had to get that off of my chest so that I can rest well tonight and enjoy the rest of my trip that I'm on. Tomorrow's my birthday, and I'm already going to be away from my family and my friends and in a city that I don't know anyone. So I don't want to ruin the rest of my trip. But I just had to get that off of my chest. And now I can leave it alone and enjoy the rest of my work trip. And I will see you guys. I know a couple of you guys are coming to Chicago, so hopefully I'll get to work with you. Anyway, y'all have a good night and see you soon.